Hey everybody, it's Shep here. It's September 20th and I've got a COT video. Looking at the dollar index today, there's a lot of really interesting things going on under the hood of this market. And I'm going to show you why, even though the price action has been clearly bearish and in a bit of a consolidation mode since April or May, I do believe, based on what I'm going to show you today, that we're going to see a fairly strong bullish move in the dollar fairly soon. Could be as soon as starting next week. So let's take a look at what I'm seeing. So the commercials, the red line here, are very, very bullish. They've been really bullish since April or May. This red line is an index showing their position relative to the last 26 weeks. Anything above this green line shows that they are very, very heavily positioned to the long side. What I really like is also in the last few weeks, the small specs, the green line, have got really bearish. The small speculators, at least in the currencies markets, are very bad generally. They get it wrong when they're extremely on one side. So at the peak back in January of 2025, we saw that the small specs were really, really long. The most long they've been in 26 weeks. Now we see they're kind of at that opposite extreme. All the commercials are really long. The sentiment advisory sentiment index is showing the advisors are generally quite bearish at a time when the commercials are quite bullish. It's that nice juxtaposition we look for. This generally is telling us that the crowd is who's generally wrong at extremes are extremely short. And then we're also undervalued relative to treasuries, which is this brown line here. So we see this brown line here is the valuation of dollars, or the dollar index rather, relative to the price of the treasuries. So undervalued versus that storehouse of value there is another code. So that's a lot of things right there telling me that this market is poised for a bullish move. There hasn't been enough of a trend change to the upside for me to think the move has started yet. I'll show you in a minute what I'd need to see for me to think that this whole idea is starting to play out and that we're going to see a fairly large move in the dollar index. Now what I'm going to show you right here is probably the most interesting thing about the setup in the dollar index right now. The top pane, you see I've marked it out with some vertical and one horizontal blue lines. And so the red line here is the overall net positioning of the commercials. Okay, so what we see here is this week, as of the reporting period, when they reported, the commercials are very long. They are super long. And I've marked out the last time in history when they've been this long. So the last time they were this long was in 2021, January 2021, and it preceded this massive up move. Keep in mind, this is a weekly chart as well. So each bar represents a week. That's a massive up move. Then again, the last time it got into this general area was right here, preceded quite a major bottom. Then again back here, I didn't mark this one out, but generally when we get up into this area, huge up moves. Here's the last time again. Huge up move, huge up move, huge up move, huge up move. We see that the commercials have been more long than they are now, and these moves don't instantly, or this information doesn't mean it's going to instantly happen. We can see the commercials have been this long before, and it took quite a while until price consolidated and then actually started the move up. So that still is very worth paying attention to. When commercials get to these extremes, like I really like it when we see these net positioning lines take out major historical highs from the past. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We're taking out that major historical high in net positioning that happened in end of 2020, early 2021, preceded this massive move up in the dollar. Interestingly, if we were to look at the bond market, the treasuries, the 30-year treasury shows a very interesting short setup for the bonds, which would imply higher yields, which would imply dollar strength most likely. But I'm not going to show you the treasury setup. This is supposed to be just to focus on the dollar. Lastly, the last part of this setup that we have is that the seasonals are bullish. So the blue line over line price right here is bullish seasonals for the dollar index. We also see that generally this consolidation and general down move has been happening on decreased ADX. So the average directional strength of this down move is actually weak. If this is a strong down move, it would be going up. So that's another little factor. And also generally when the ADX gets under 20, and the commercials are set up for longs, that's a strong buy signal in and of itself. And what we saw here is, well, on this front month here, it's not showing us taking out this low, but I believe if we go over just to the rolling contract, we did take out this low and we had a major, if you like reading price bars, that's a pretty strong reversal bar right there. I mean, we traded all the way down there and then closed on the highs. So let's go take a look at price action and just let me show you what I would like to see. So yeah, here's the rolling contract. We see we did wick below those lows from July and closed up on the week. So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see price reclaim a flat to rising 20 period moving average. So the blue line is a 20 period moving average. We see that the things are chopping around, so we are in a period of accumulation or at least some sort of consolidation. But for this COT setup to play out, I would like to see some follow through above a flat to rising 20 period and ideally flat to rising 50 period moving average before we see this move really start to get going. I think it's a really nice setup, you guys. These COT setups, keep in mind, can take a really long time to play out. You don't want to mess around trying to pick the bottom. Take my advice and just wait for a more strong trend shift to happen, which would be price getting above that flat to rising 20 or 50 day moving average. So that's it, you guys. I think that we're on the precipice possibly of a major up move in the dollar index, which would imply a whole lot of weakness for foreign currencies, particularly the euro and some of the other ones that are set up for short. So if you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, leave me a comment about what you think about what's coming for the dollar. What are you trying to do when you're trading the dollar? I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say. I hope this was valuable to you guys. I do these videos to hopefully bring you some insight that maybe you don't know about, or maybe validate your own ideas, or maybe you think it's a terrible idea, whatever. I just do it to try to help. So hope it's helpful, you guys. Have a great week ahead, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.